Shalom, shalom. Pray all is well with everyone. Going to give a couple of seconds for this to kick in. Normally I will play some music, but I didn't press the button. All right, so the title, real quick title, either Yahusha or what people call Jesus lied, or today's teachers did or do, ignorantly or on purpose. What am I going to talk about? Either he lied or today's teachers did or do, ignorantly or on purpose. That's what we're going to talk about briefly. Let me know if you all can hear me. Please, in the comment section, just put a 1 if you can hear me, because apparently I didn't set things up properly this time. The music didn't play. The intro didn't come in, so I need to make sure you all can hear me. Just put a 1 if you care. Peace to those of you that's tuning in right now, and to those that may watch back. All right. Shalom, shalom. There we go. All right. So, brief topic, quick topic, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I think it's important for us to talk about this because I believe that with a lot of the text, whether it's our scripture in the Tanakh or whether it's the Hellenistic writings, is what I call it, the Brit Hadashah, we miss the cultural understanding. We miss what the Torah is saying. And we also do not go into the words, the definitions of the words, a lot of times as well. So that plays a big factor. So the topic is either Yahusha, Yeshua, Yehoshua, Yahusha, or for those that may be Christians or transitioning, Jesus lied, or today's teachers did or does, ignorantly or on purpose. So we're going to start with something briefly. We got to get an understanding of how most of the teachers, men or women, those that were commissioned to do so under the tutelage or under the instruction of what the culture operated as. For those that know what I'm saying, know what I'm saying. For those that don't, please tune in more than you will see. They always wanted to start here. Devarim chapter 10, verse 16 tells us to circumcise our mind. Circumcise our mind. Circumcise your heart. But the mind and the heart is synonymous in Hebraic understanding. The mind and the heart is synonymous. This person has a good heart, or this person doesn't have a good heart. That means their thought process is not in alignment with what was put in place for that culture or that people. What they thought or deemed would be successful for them. So circumcise your mind, circumcise your heart. So that means you have to focus on how you think. Your thinking will produce your action. What you think will produce your action. All right. Let's get into some scriptures, because I know some people want just the scriptures. And that's another thing. I think it's important for us to understand scriptures, to know where to go to, things of that nature. But I think it's more important to know how it applies, be competent in it, and how we do, how we move. If we're not moving from the knowledge of the scriptures, then we don't have knowledge of the scriptures. If we're not moving from the knowledge of the scriptures, then we don't have knowledge of the scriptures. This goes from any teacher, anyone that's not a teacher, any men, women. If we are not moving, then you do not have knowledge of the scriptures. You just know something. Knowledge is doing. All right. So let's get to it. Circumcise your heart, circumcise your mind. Your mind is what produces your action. So did Jesus, Yahusha, Yehoshua, Yahusha, Did he lie? Or are the teachers lying from their understanding? Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to let you all see the scriptures I want to go to. Okay. Let's start here. Let's start at Joshua. Joshua 7. My little keyboard is not working, so if I'm up here, don't worry about it, you all. Joshua 7. Joshua 7, chapter 20. Let me pull it up so you all can see it. This is going to be brief. We are supposed to have prayer call tomorrow, 6:45 a.m. for those that want to tune in. This is every Yom Shalishi. Tune in. A call to prayer. But I wanted to come on. We didn't come on Yom Shabbat, this past Yom Shabbat. But hopefully you watched another lesson that we may have done or enjoyed yourself from any other studies or someone else that you may be tuning in with. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Go ahead, pull it up for you all. And I think it's important what's about to be spoken about. You may already know it, but someone else may not. All right, and it says, and Achan answered Joshua, Yahusha, right? Truly I have sinned against Hamelech HaElyon, Elohim of Bnei Yisrael. And this is what I did. Watch this. When I saw among the spoil a beautiful cloak from Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold weighing 50 shekels, then I coveted them and took them. I saw among the spoil, right? This wasn't supposed to be for me. I saw it. I thought it was beautiful. I wanted it. But that's not the sin. I then coveted it. So coveting is wanting or desiring to take possession of something. That is what coveting, you all understand this. Coveting is an idea of wanting to have it for yourself. All right. So how did I get to wanting to talk about this today? I had a dream last night. I was talking to my Yahusha about it. Not really in depth, but I said I had a dream about concerning the topic dealing with Yeshua, a big, huge topic. You hear people outside of our path talk about it. You hear people in our path talking about it. And I'm like, okay, it was interesting that this was in that. And I was explaining to someone about it. I said, okay, well, maybe I'll bring it up today. So this is what we're about to talk about, how it actually functions, right? So when I saw among the spoil a beautiful cloak from Shinar and 200 shekels of silver and a bar of gold weighing 50 shekels, then I coveted them and took them. So I saw it first. It was beautiful. It was nice. It was cool. But from that, I coveted it. I wanted it for myself. I wanted to take possession of it, regardless of or outside of the fact of understanding that, okay, this is what this is. But now I have to have it for myself. And it caused me to go in a direction of actually wanting to bring it towards myself, right? So after that, it causes an outcome. Israel loses the battle, and this entire household is destroyed. Sin began in desire, ended in death, right? So keep that in mind. This is going to be quick, but hopefully it's something that's going to come out of it that may be beneficial. Let me pull this down. All right, let's go ahead and go to Leviticus. Okay, let's go to Leviticus, Wa'ikra 19. Leviticus 19 and 17. I'm going to pull it up so you all can see it for those that need to see it as well. Leviticus 19 and 17. We should be familiar with this, right? You should not hate your brother in your heart, but you shall reason frankly with your neighbor, lest you incur sin because of him. Okay, so what does this mean? So it's letting you know not to hate your brother in your heart. Why? Because if it's something, if you're hating your brother in your heart, then everything about your brother will cause you, if you have an interaction with them, if you're talking about them to someone else, any type of subject or scenario will cause you to produce sin because you hate them in your mind. Just the thought is what produces the action. This is nothing that this is nothing that you don't know. But sometimes we know these things and we don't truly understand it. This is not what we're getting to right now, though. But I have to start with these things so we can see it. One of the biggest examples that we have is dealing with Cain and Abel, right? Cain murders his brother after an internal jealousy, something that's on his mind, resenting. Right, you begin to start to treat people differently because of how you're viewing them, how you're thinking about them. The dislike you have, the hatred, all these different. It causes you to, whenever you even speak about them with someone, people are going to hear that condescending speech. People are going to hear those different sly remarks, all those different things. It starts from the thought. It starts from the thought. So we have to retrain our mind on how we're thinking about people. We have to retrain our mind so we don't covet. Understand that. Don't blur the line. Don't overstep that line. That's why Sirach talks about certain things in Sirach or Ecclesiastes talk about chapter 9. You shouldn't even be sitting with another man's wife. Because when you do, you never know what'll pop up in your mind. Some people aren't strong enough to just have conversations. They wonder. Their mind wanders. This is Hebraic thought. This is how we move culturally. We understood that everything starts in the mind. But for some reason here, 2025, different ethnical groups, they overlook that. They don't think that we have to focus on that. And then when we get to a point where someone's bringing something out, we don't understand it and we apply it to everything, which is not the subject or the topic. I'm about to explain that in 1 second. All right, so we were in Leviticus 19, 17. We spoke on that hate on the brother. I referenced a little bit of Sirach, chapter 9, just a little bit. We spoke on Yahusha, Joshua chapter 7, verse 20. Let's go ahead and go to Deuteronomy or Devarim chapter 5. Notice, most of what I'm going to is the Torah. Any man or woman of the Most High, any man or woman that is righteous, any man or woman that is focusing on moving in that path is going to reference or operate in or speak from the Torah at all points. There is no man or woman on the planet Earth ever in history that operated or understood the Torah that did not speak from the Torah. They may have elaborated for those that didn't understand the Torah to understand, but they always spoke from it. All right. Some of you that's tuning in right now, if you're just coming in now, you may have to go from the beginning. If not, it's cool. But here we go. And you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Now, every time we spoke on coveting, every time we brought the scriptures we brought out, it showed that it was in their mind. They thought first before coveting. Akkad, I think that's his name, right? We were just in Numbers. It said he thought first. Right? He saw this beautiful thing. Then he coveted. And after the coveting, he took it. So Devarim 5:21 says, and you shall not covet. It didn't even talk about the thinking part. It says you should not covet. It didn't talk about, okay, attractive man, attractive woman. It said covet, because covet starts something. And what does it start? Here we go. And you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not desire your neighbor's house, his field, or his male servant, or his a female servant, his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. Coveting is the number one thing. It belongs to someone, right? These things are his possession. People don't like that term, but if you don't like that term, then you need to leave the United States, because the United States calls us the children of the state. Why? Because it's another topic. I'm not going to go into that. But we're the property of this government, no matter what we believe or not, right? We can still move a certain way to separate ourselves, but we're still a part of it. So we have to render unto it what belongs to it, unless we totally go autonomous. And most of us won't do that, because we won't even do that amongst each other. We won't relinquish autonomy to those that have our best interests in heart or in mind. Notice I'm steady going back to the thought in the mind. We won't relinquish our autonomy to those who have our best interests in mind. Because what we're coveting, something outside of us that we prefer. And when we covet those things outside of us that we prefer, it ends up hurting us more. Coveting outside of us, hurting. Think about it. All right, so we got Deuteronomy chapter 5:21. We read on about you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. This is huge. This is literally telling you not to covet your neighbor's wife. Understand that. And things that belong to someone else, you cannot covet. We saw that in Numbers. We was at sin. Ahad, if I'm saying his name correctly, coveted something else outside and did not belong to him. All right, Exodus chapter 20:17. I'm not going to go to that. It says the same thing. You should not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet your neighbor's wife, his servant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Coveting is not attraction. Coveting is not noticing. It is a desire aimed at possessing it. Coveting is a desire aimed at possession. It targets what belongs to something else that is coveting. Don't let these Christian teachers teach you opposite. What I'm saying, do not let even our people that's on this path teach you opposite of what I'm saying. You don't believe me? Study the scripture more and look at the examples. All right. Some of you in right now, we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you start from the beginning and you'll see what I'm speaking on. Make sure you like and you share if you're on YouTube as well, and subscribe. So it targets what belongs to another. All right. We went to Deuteronomy 5:21. We went to Joshua chapter 7, verse 20 and 21. We went to, what else did we go to? Leviticus 19 and 17. Now and we talked about Cain, right? Murders his brother after thinking, internal jealousy and resentment, right? Inside his heart. Deuteronomy 10 and 16, circumcise your heart, your mind, because that's going to cause the action of doing something that can bless you or curse you, right? Let's keep going. All right, so we're going to go to, what are we going to go to? I think it's Matthew chapter 5, you all. I know it's different right now. I normally don't really go into the Hellenistic. Somebody said blah, blah, blah. That's amazing. Let me know what blah, blah, blah means. Let me know what blah, blah, blah means. But I'm going to ignore you because, you're not explaining what it means. And you know what's interesting? if it is a negative comment that's being said, you're watching this just to comment and say blah, blah, blah. We got to grow. We got to be better. But let's continue. All right. All right. So it states right here, it says, you shall have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, but whoever murders will be liable to judgment, right? But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Angry with his brother. Why is that? Because anger is going to cause you to go completely outside of how we're supposed to move as a community. Most times, right? Most times. Scripture talks about do not go to sleep on your anger, right? Because if you do that, it's going to cause you to continue to dwell up in it. It's going to cause you to continue to act outside of how we're supposed to be moving completely. You're going to be irrational, all of these different things. So we need to make sure that we contain that anger or move in a way that is still righteous, even with being upset. You know, most of us, we don't know how to deal with the anger. We allow it to completely change who we are. Those different things right here. But it's telling you, as far as that, these things that's dealing with your anger could cause you to do these things. It could cause you to do things that's going to move towards being murdering someone. We've been speaking on our thought process this whole entire time. How thoughts cause you to do those things, right? Let's keep going. I want to go down to this last point really quickly. All right. This is the biggest part of what I want to speak on. This is what I want to speak on the most. And you can, I'm okay with your thoughts on how you feel about it, but we cannot remove what it says in this attested language, right? It says, you have heard that it was said, you should not commit adultery. But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent, we've been talking about this, intent being the desire to want to possess it, want to take it for yourself. Well, wait a minute. It says a woman. It doesn't say anything about a wife. It says a woman. And most of us teach, well, even if you look at a random woman with lust, intent, you have already committed adultery with her in his heart. If this was true completely, this will totally go against Torah. Let me say that again. If this was completely true, if this is what was being said, this means it will totally go against Torah. But I say unto you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. All right? Let's keep going down. Keep that in mind. Now watch this. It says, it was also said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. All right? But I say unto you that everyone who divorces his wife, except on the ground of sexual immorality, makes her commit adultery. So the main point I want to bring out is this. Let's go with Matthew 5:31. But let's start up here first. Some of you that's coming in, peace to you. You will have to start from the beginning to see what I'm speaking about. But I'll keep going. You have heard what it is said, you should not commit adultery. But I say unto you, everyone who looks at a woman. Let's click on this. The reason we have to look on this because this is totally outside of the realm of Hebraic thought and out of the realm of Torah that was given in the Tanakh. And every place that I went to you, we can't say, well, this is going deeper than the Tanakh, because it's talking about your thought process and how you think, because how you think is going to dictate how you move. Well, I showed you a few different places that original thought is already and always has been in the Tanakh. That original thought has already been in Devarim chapter 10, in Joshua 7, chapter 20, in Numbers, everywhere I just went. It's about your thought. That's what coveting means. That's what starts from there. So it's not saying anything different. So why is it that the translation says, but I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman, a specific random woman with lustful intent, has already committed adultery that will go totally against the law. And it's either he lied, or it's either us teachers are ignorantly teaching it improperly. All right. So let's look at this really quickly. All right. All right. So they have this right here, Gene. And I know I'm not going to pronounce it. I speak Hebrew, so I don't speak Greek, but I know how to look up words, right? At a woman, Gene. This is the word right here for woman. All right. Now, in Hebraic thought, Isha is woman by itself. And you have a word called Alma for a young woman. But the Isha could be a woman or it could be a wife. And if those that were in the first century was speaking from Hebraic thought, even in this Greek, Koine Greek, it still will express the same thing. In this Koine Greek, it will express the same thing. So Isha and Isha could be woman or wife. Gene is the word for woman here. All right. Let me see something really quickly. All right. So we got that right there. What this is right here. And we're going to come off of this and we're going to go down. It was also said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. All right. Look at this, y'all. Same word. Wife. All right. Let me go down here so we can see this as well. Good day. Same exact thing. Why does that make more sense? Because according to Torah, you don't supposed to covet another man's wife. And then when you go to Sirach or Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, it addresses it more. It talks about not even sitting with another man's wife, what it would do and it can do to most men, especially those that's not righteous. It can cause you to covet another man's wife. Here in Matthew 5, when he says, do not even look on a woman with lustful intent, that's covet. Intent is covet. Lustful intent for possession, that's coveting. You can't covet a woman that's not married, but you can covet a woman that is married. Coveting has to do with taking possession of something that belongs to someone else. All right. Some could say, well, this woman belongs to the Ab or the father or the Abba, you all may say. And that's a valid point. But in the context of what this is all saying, because every woman, right? Well, that's another topic. In this context, this is the same word, wife, for this one. But interestingly, they put woman for verse 27. And it's the same word. Purposely, wait a minute, where is it at? I just did something wrong. Okay. Hold on. Okay, 28. Wrong place. All right. I purposely went here too because in the Hebrew scriptures, you will see a word, you will see this down here. You'll see something like this, but then you'll see how it's being written in the text. So I purposely looked at this right here because I do understand that sometimes the root could be different from what the actual word is, but this is the same exact word for both of them. But this does say woman, right? But it's wife. So without further ado, I just wanted to bring that out. I don't believe that it was being lied or he was lying. I believe that a lot of us are just not looking at it culturally. We're not looking at it contextually. We're not looking at the dynamic of coveting. We're not looking at the dynamic of intent for possessing something that isn't ours. These are the things that are speaking of. And without further ado, I'm going to close out there. If there's any comments, questions, let me know. I'll give you about 30 seconds. If I don't see one, I will pull back from it. I will pull back from it. And to the guy, Barrington, please, if you have something, bring it out. Say what you have to say. That's a question you may have. And also, remove yourself. Remove yourself if what I'm saying is not fruitful for you or for your understanding. I'm okay with that. I respect it. Let me pull this off real quick. All right. Let me go on Facebook and see if anyone said anything because I can't see anything here. All right. So to close it out, you all understand that any teacher, so this is only applies to a married woman. Contextually, yes. Now here's the caveat. Your intent is still everything. This doesn't mean that we can go out and misuse. I'm not speaking to you, by the way, that made that comment. Shalom to you. We should got to move in righteousness. We teach over here. We teach covenants. We teach elders are important. We teach the protection of women. We teach all of these different things. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what we teach, or most congregations or most teachers or whoever. It's going to be based upon the person, because most of us are not moving with accountability. Most of us are not relinquishing, as I stated earlier. Some of you are just coming in now. We're not relinquishing some of our autonomy. Me and my Isha, we always speak on, if we have failed, if men and women are failing in relationships, right, and we're continuing to fail, then something should pop up in our mind to let us know we need help. Well, I'm grown. I don't need help. Yes, we do. We're not. Back then, it was different. They had the women back then understood, the ones that was righteous anyway, understood covering, fathers, uncles, brothers, covering. The men, they understood covering, even elders and teachers that was over them covering. We don't do that today, not on a large scale. So me teaching this is not saying, okay, well, that means I can just go ahead and do this. I'm not teaching that at all. But what I am saying is that right there, that word is the exact same as wife, and the same context or concept is in Hebraic thought and language. Isha means woman, but it also contextually means wife. In this context, Gene means woman, but it also means wife. And in order to covet, it has to be dealing with someone that's married. In every instance that I brought out with coveting, it's the possession of something that's not yours. Now, in addition to that, I can say, well, you know, a woman that is, even though I don't believe this is the context with it, but you could still use it. A woman that is typically under the father's protection, right? You take that could be coveting because you have not went through the proper channels. You didn't do it properly. A lot of us don't. And when we understand we don't, we need to change it and shift it and make it right. But that can be a way to look at it as well. That also can be a way to keep you safe as well, because you may do something and go outside of the norm, which most of us do that. Most of us do that because we have nobody over us. We don't feel we need someone over us. We don't believe in any of that. We just believe what we read, the things that makes us feel okay. So, and when I'm speaking right now, I'm not continuing speaking at you or talking to you, by the way. This is for others that's tuning in, just to give context what was being said, because I know sometimes this can detour people, or this can create other doctrines, you know what I'm saying, that causes false doctrines. But anywho, without further ado, you all, may the Most High bless and guard you. Since there's no more questions, no more comments, I pray that something that was said helps and continue your journey down righteousness, towards righteousness, or down it if you already participated in righteousness, and that you continue to grow. Shalom, shalom. Yebrekum, Yahweh, or Yeshmalekum. Shalom.
I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I see a dream, that dream is green, and I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, child, woman, and man. As we take up for what we stand, better days and better nights, as we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order, and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we wanna see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the sake of us. I
see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more feeling, telling me beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I wasn't part of the mission. Changing lives of men, women, and children. Our glory goes to He that causes us all to be. And if they're thinking we can, then show them that. Just as long as we stand, a monument. We the people can't be broken. As long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake of us. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my